enemy, he's afraid of where the profit is going to come from, where his destruction is going to come from. So he's always trying to encourage you to have an abortion. He's always trying to encourage you, for women, and this is important to know, and this is just me going down the rabbit hole right quick, because I feel like I need to say this. For women, the enemy wants to get you in fornication. He wants you pregnant. He wants you pregnant. Not so that you can have a child, but for several reasons. One, abortion, you can deal with the guilt and shame of that for the rest of your life, and that's a sin within itself. Two, if you have the child is raised in most cases without a father. Three, if you have the child, which you should have the child, a lot of times you are now connected to the father of that child forever, which makes it less likely for you to go through deliverance. Four, a lot of times when a woman has a child, she ends up getting locked into public assistance. You have to be aware of how strategic the enemy is, because if you are not aware of how strategic he is, then he will constantly keep moving his chess pieces against you, and you'll constantly keep doing what he wants you to do. Five, the one that I didn't mention, the enemy does not want you having children with a man that God approves for you. The enemy does not want you having children with a man that God approves for you. And the way that he silences your womb, I want you to hear when I said that. The way that he silences your womb is he gets you to have all these kids with all of these guys who are not going to be there. So by the time you meet your husband, your tubes are tied. By the time you meet the person, your tubes are tied. You're less likely to meet your husband because by this time you're so bitter, you're so angry, and you're so dependent that God is trying to get you delivered from all of those things, all of those systems. And it's not always easy because it goes against your will. God is not going to move against your will. So rebellion. The enemy does not want you having any children with a man that God approves for your life. He'll get you to the point where you'll have 3 kids and you're like, man, I'm tired of these 2. I ain't doing this no more. I remember having a conversation with an old friend of mine, and she had 3 children. And I told her, and I was in the world at the time, but I remember telling her, she started talking about getting her tubes. She had 3 boys. And I knew she wanted a girl more than anything. And I was telling her, I was like, don't tie your tubes. She was like, Tiffany, I got 3 kids. That's easy for you to say. You don't have any kids. And I was like, at some point, you're going to meet the guy. You're going to meet the right man for you. And I said, what's going to happen if he don't have any kids and he want them? What's going to happen if he has, let's say, girls and he wants a son, somebody to carry his name? What's going to happen? She said, well, he better raise my kids like that he is. Sure enough, she went and she tied the tubes or what have you. She ended up meeting a guy, got married. And when they got married, when she met him and they started talking about kids, he only had a daughter. He wanted a son. So now she was calling around to hospitals trying to figure out how much it would cost to untie her tubes. She was calling around the hospitals, and of course, her insurance didn't cover that. She wanted to know how much would it cost to untie her tubes. She never did get the work done or what have you, but that was the thing. The enemy. I'm not going to say that this was the right guy for her because I don't know whatever happened with them. But what I will say is this: the enemy is after the fruit of your womb. He is afraid of what comes out of your womb, and so he will try to get you into fornication. He'll try to get you to go out here and sleep with all these different dudes or what have you, so that you can have kids with them. So by the time your husband comes around, you're not ready, or you're not willing to give your husband any children, or you're unable to give your husband any children when you were supposed to be carrying on your husband's legacy. You were supposed to be carrying on your husband's legacy. You were supposed to be carrying on his legacy, but you end up carrying children from the wrong guy. Now, the children are a blessing. I know you love them. And I don't think there's a mother alive, not a healthy one, that regrets having her children. Nevertheless, the enemy does not mind you going out here having kids because he's just trying to make sure you don't have them with the right guy. He's just trying to make sure you don't have them with the right guy. So rebellion, again, number 7 is rebellion. Rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft. It is the same, or it is similar to the sin of witchcraft. Number 8, these are obstacles to deliverance. Number 8, demonic contract.